What is the weirdest thing you have ever heard in a public place? We were at the library for some writing when a guy on the phone at a nearby table suddenly said, "Yeah baby, I still love Sharknado." He said it so sincerely, like he was trying to defuse a possible fight. Standing in an elevator, headed to the ground floor of an Atlantic City hotel. Two guys get on dragging their bags and looking very hungover. Quote, one guy says to his friend, "Things will go back to normal once we get home." His friend says back, "Not after that." I'd love to hear the story behind this one. You just know some weird crap happened. Walking down the street, I overheard a guy in a suit on the phone saying, "I just figured we'd better talk about the sandwich thing cause I have a feeling it's going to come to a head pretty fast. I cannot conceive of any sandwich thing that could do that." Overheard at my university student center. I've been having sex for years and not once has anyone told me I was doing it wrong. There's people out there who do it wrong their whole freaking lives. I was shopping at Best Buy a few years back near Christmas. In the checkout line there was a deaf mom yelling at her two teenage daughters in sign language. She was quite animated and obviously upset. In the middle of this sign language rant, the daughters both turned their back to the mom and started bad-mouthing her. The rage I saw on that mom's face was frightening. I thought I was about to be witness to a double homicide. An old lady to another old lady on the bus. I tried reading the Kama Sutra. I thought it would be erotic but it just made me very angry. I love this one. I was drinking in a pizza sports bar. One table over a drunk guy is talking loudly about how he accidentally fricked a guy that looked like a girl. The whole bar can hear this. About 20 minutes pass and his waitress makes a joke about switching tables so her guy co-worker can serve him. He instantly got pee off and accused his friend of telling the waitress his story and tried to fight him. Someone was in denial. Before a district court hearing, shortly before it was pointed out to the attorney that there were consultation rooms available. So that's your defense? He may be a drug dealer and a convicted sex offender, but he's not a thief? I want to be on the jury for that case, LMAO. A couple having an argument in a pub on the next table that got louder and louder and culminated in the woman yelling, "Then why won't you eat my pee?" Also in a bar, I once heard a woman saying to her man, "Probably, you shouldn't complain that I just lie there. You should be happy with the fact that I at least give you warmth." Story from a friend. She was browsing the tampon aisle. A random woman comes up to her, points to one of the budget brands and says, "Don't buy those ones. They come out when you cough." This is solid advice from one lady to another. Yay sisterhood. Heard a guy saying to another guy coming out of a gas station, he wears a scarf around his neck so you can't see where he's decaying. I have never been so painfully curious. The girl with the green ribbon. Rita, thanks for the awards. Man and woman examining a parcel they'd just picked up from the post office. Woman, examining label. Ukraine? What have you been ordering now? Man, oh, that'll be the gas masks. Reminder, old military gas masks are usually dangerous. They might contain asbestos, for example. Sitting in a restaurant years ago and overheard another diner say, "And he just keeps hiring family members into government jobs. That's necrophilia." Dropping a coffee off to my girlfriend at work. Guy out front of the studio is on the phone and the brief bit I caught was, "I didn't mean to have sex with that sister. Whoops." I heard a girl talking on the phone and the conversation went something like this. "So I was sitting outside on a park bench, talking on the phone, when suddenly a chipmunk fell right into my hand. Like it fell directly into my hand and I got so freaked out that I threw it as far as I could. I literally launched a chipmunk across the park." Imagine if that was the chipmunk's plan all along. Like it was in a hurry to get somewhere so it dropped into her hand figuring she would launch it. I was having dinner in a Thai restaurant and overheard a blind date in the booth behind me. "Well thank you but I'm going to get going." "Oh, already? I'll walk you out." "No, stay here and enjoy your beer. Can I call you later?" Long pause. "I'll have to let you know. I got set up with my dad's girlfriend's friend's niece and I'm meeting her tomorrow, and I'm terrified of this happening, lol." I recently overheard a group of 20-somethings talking about this giant octopus in our nearby aquarium. One of the guys swore to the others that the octopus was otherworldly, and that it basically took over his mind for several hours while he sat in a trance, watching it. Shrooms, for sure. There were 2 women in front of me at the queue in the bank and I could overhear them talking when one of them said, "I can't wait to frick my boyfriend later," to which the other replied, "Normally or with your strap-on. My life has never been the same. I vote for the strap-on." I was walking behind a pair of teenagers once. One asked the other, "Do you know what chlamydia is?" After a long pause the other replied, "Yeah, it's that board game in it." I still laugh thinking about it. In college, I was taking a psychology class. The professor was asking students about what makes them upset. One girl raised her hand quickly and went on a rant about the good-for-nothing, useless piece of crap that got her pregnant. She ranted for 5 minutes about how he doesn't pay child support, never wants to see his daughter, but keeps trying to get back in her pants even though she knows he's already gotten at least 2 other girls pregnant. The professor, an older woman, was a little taken aback and tried to give her advice, saying that group therapy between them would be beneficial, and that while a romantic relationship was probably not a good idea, a good civil relationship as parents was necessary, and that he should understand that as a parent he has both emotional and financial obligations to his daughter. Then she said, "Do you think that is something he would be open to which the girl replied, "I don't know. Why don't you ask him? He's sitting right over there. Poor son of a B was in the class, lol." At a huge outlet mall in Pennsylvania, there was a little girl and her rather rough-looking mom. The little girl was saying, "But mom, why do we have to lie? I'm pretty sure they were about to scam the crap out of the place." Not that strange I guess, but I was in the bathroom at a Target once and I heard a kid in the stall say, "Daddy, are you pooing?" And the dad in a sad, defeated voice replied, "Sigh, yeah." Oh man, I have to. 1. Visiting Central Park during my first time to NYC. I'm walking around when a female cop is walking up to a homeless guy drinking some water out of a water fountain. She seemed to know him. "No, Charles, don't drink that water. Ain't you seen RoboCop?" 2. Visiting New Orleans for Mardi Gras. We are driving around looking for a place to eat and this stereotypical looking Caucasian family is getting out of their SUV. This tall black dude holding a tall boy beer in a paper bag in his right hand and an empty 10-gallon paint bucket in his left hand is walking up towards them. We were driving by with the windows down at a slow speed, so I just heard him start his sentence with, "I know I'm black and I'm holding a bucket." My buddy and I couldn't stop laughing from that because it just sounded so odd. For a while we would just start sentences about anything with "I know I'm black and I'm carrying a bucket." What does RoboCop have to do with a water fountain? I overheard 2 girls in front of me at the school library. Girl 1, "My boyfriend's such a bastard. He cheated on me." Girl 2, "Why don't you just leave him then?" Girl 1, "Because I've cheated on him so many times that it wouldn't be fair. They are perfect together, Mayo." The bus driver told his wife that he did not know how to justify himself to his daughter for accidentally feeding the fish with rat poison. This reminds me of the time my dad accidentally ran over the family cat and hid it from us. My mom told me about after the divorce. My co-worker turned the corner with the phrase, "Giant glob of puss," right into my mouth. I just didn't even want to know. I'm a nurse. This is just a normal workplace conversation to me. The guy behind me loudly proclaimed he had to take a nollie pee. To this day I don't know what quantifies a pee as nollie, but hey. I do, but it involves a box of beer, a snowboard, school textbooks, and 4 packs of different colored, flavor doesn't matter, Kool-Aid. Walking downtown in Georgia one Saturday night, when I heard this gem of a conversation coming from this group of girls as I passed. Girl 1, "What's the most amount of guys you've fricked in one night?" Girl 2, I think 6. Girl 1, "At the same time." Girl 2, "No Jilly, I'm not a S." I was walking with my friend and we heard a kid shout, "Call me Chicken Kiev." We laughed about it for the rest of the walk. A woman on a phone in line. She has clearly seen better days, but aside from that you can tell she's all about business. Don't come up in here bitching to me about your problems. I don't got time for your crying and crap. I'm your side piece. You got a woman for that crap. Fuck. Walking past a guy in Glasgow who was talking on the phone who said, somewhat frantically, "There's 20 grand in a shoebox on the back seat." Who keeps 20 grand in a shoebox and then leaves it sitting? Drug dealers or arms dealers? I mean, it was in Glasgow. Some Indian dude was teaching his kid how to put together one of those multi-use screwdrivers and the kid figured it out. So the father says, "See son, just like sliding an enema in. I went fetal position right in the middle of Rona." My cousin-in-law is from Austria. Apparently in Austria they don't talk on the phone in open public as much as we do in Australia, and they aren't as blatant in what they're talking about. One day she was waiting at the bus stop when a young woman was on the phone with her mother. The conversation from the daughter's end was something like, "Mum, I need you to buy me a morning after pill. I haven't got any money left." TBF, that's a bit extreme for most Australians to speak about openly at a bus stop too, but it stood out more for her. Walking behind them between gates, I overheard one stewardess say to the other, "Yes, I'm still seeing him. I like him because he looks like a lesbian." Best compliment one can get. I've got two, both while I was on carts janitor duty at a grocery store. First one, there was a group of 3 or 4 teenage boys in the handicap stall reading the first act of Romeo and Juliet aloud. This was before Vines and TikTok, so I doubt it was part of some viral thing. Second, another group of teens was having a very heated argument in our cafe over whether or not Indians should be considered Asian. Second, no and yes, I can't say I am Indian. I was walking through town at Christmas. Lots of people about and I pass an old couple just as a woman says to, I'm guessing, her husband, "No one thinks you're dead, Harold." Who thinks you're dead? I'd like to imagine it's the same old couple from that They're Lesbians Harold Tumblr post. Ow do a snazzle cakes, ow do a sniffy sniff. To this day I've always wondered what the gent meant by that. He was not eating or crazy, just a dude walking. 2 women in line for coffee in a town near Big Sur. I just love it down there. It's so peaceful on the coast. Yeah, but the goat sacrifice was heavy. I dunno. I hope I didn't seem triggered or anything. Oh no, not at all. I mean, it can be intense the first time, so I don't think anyone really cared. Yikers. One that still makes me laugh to think about to this day. I was about 14 and at the river with my dad just enjoying a nice summer day. This family with twin sons maybe 3 or 4 years old is hanging around within earshot of us. The dad is trying to teach the boys how to skip rocks. "Dad, see, you find a nice flat rock and then you throw it like this. No, not at your brother." Oh, man. I have had this exact situation with my twin boys. I was at a Dollar Tree when I was in middle school, and I passed a family in the checkout lane as one of the kids grabs a pregnancy test and goes, "Look mom, I found a new candy. It's called Pregnancy." I didn't hear the mother's response because I was already across the store by then and I was laughing my butt off. Reminds me of the time a little girl was in a hardware store crying because her mom wouldn't give her any apple juice from the gallon jug in the cart. The mom was buying tiki torch fuel. Heard a guy on the bus talking about killing his grandmother, then ending the sentence with "hypothetically speaking." Daddy was being hypothetical with the tone of his voice. My friend's cousin killed his grandparents, and I think their mother, cousin's mother, the killer's mother, and started on their way to kill more before getting arrested. Mental health is a serious thing. When I was changing for swimming with my 7-year-old daughter at a public pool, she loudly exclaimed, "Daddy, your willy looks like Squidward's nose." I watched a play at a university and in front of the stage there was a sign language translator. At one part of the play, I can't remember what part or what play, the interpreter had an extremely angry expression and repeatedly fondled her breasts. I started laughing really hard and people looked at me. I don't think the part of the play was supposed to be funny. Drink. Damn it. Just drink it, which wouldn't have been that weird, except when I looked up to where I heard the voice coming from. It was a second floor apartment window, where a woman was trying to get a very large lizard to drink from a glass of water. I started laughing because, WTF, she heard me, glared at me, and yelled, "Frick you, I love Chicago." Walmart. Was at the register when the cashier and the guy in front of me were talking to one another. Clearly they knew each other. Guy had a box of condoms and pregnancy test kits. Cashier noticed them and made a joke about how big the condoms are and if his girlfriend is expecting. Guy says no, and once he's done paying, he hands the items to her. Guy says this she might be pregnant with your husband's kid, and tell him if he's gonna frick my girlfriend, wear a condom and don't make a mess of my place. He leaves and the cashier is just a seething mess of anger and walks off. I go to another register, but I was so tempted to follow her just to see what she'd do. I had to read this several times until I figured out what was happening. I was on a train once and this girl behind me was on the phone for about an hour. In that time she mentioned that the night before she really wanted a Chinese for tea, so got her boyfriend to order one, but he got her rice with prawns and she hates prawns, so she threw the whole lot away and now hasn't eaten for 24 hours and it's his fault. She then proceeded to tell the person on the phone that her friend's brother had been shot a few days ago and isn't answering his phone. I'm in the UK, so this was quite uncommon. And how her and his sister planned to visit all the hospitals when they got home cause they hadn't heard from him. And the subjects changed every 5 minutes and she spoke very loudly the whole time, much to my entertainment. Her friend's brother had been shot a few days ago and isn't answering his phone. I'm in the UK, so this was quite uncommon. Believe it or not, that's uncommon in many places. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.